Oh. My, you startled me. It's miles away.
Just pondering what I lost. Mystra commands all magic. Salvation, if such a thing exists, is hers to bestow or withhold. And yet even now, more than I fear losing my own self and soul, I fear losing my command of her art.
Magic is my life. I've been in touch with the weave for as long as I can remember. There's nothing like it. It's like music, poetry, physical beauty, all rolled into one and given expression through the senses. Would you like to experience this? Then follow my lead. Now you.
You feel something strange, like a kind word and a kind touch at the same time. It's warm and comfortable.
Excellent. Now, repeat after me. Athran mystra kantrak eo.
You see, or is it sense, the presence of a woman. The woman who hovered over Gale's palm. There's something like the anticipation of a kiss. Then the pleasure of being cloaked in peace. You are safe. You are nestled in the cup of Mistra's hand.
You did it! You're channeling the weave. How does it feel?
The weave connects you. The moment feels intimate. You realize the weave is making you one. You have but to imagine your desire, and Gale will know it.
I didn't think.
You perceive quick-fire gusts of embarrassment, trepidation, and finally, elation.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting. But it is a pleasant image, to be sure. Most pleasant, in fact. Most welcome.
The weave evaporates, and as it does so, you realize the night feels suddenly cold and lonesome.
Oh. There it goes. How easily things slip away from us, no matter how hard they were in the obtaining. Good night. I enjoyed sharing a moment of magic with you.
I assure you it's not. Don't get me wrong, you did well. The somatic component, the verbal component, even the focus on the inner self that invites Mystra in. But I was still your conduit. To perform such a feat alone requires much and arduous study. Yet it is life's most worthy pursuit in my impartial, if not humble opinion.
Oh, I was surprised, but pleasantly so. Just like I said, amid the madness that has befallen us, it seems almost out of place to think of a romantic walk.
And yet, now more than ever, it's important to recall what makes us human. Well, you know what I mean. A stolen glance, that sudden heartbeat. Sometimes the little things are worth more than kingdoms. They promise things to come.
If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes.
I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. I promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls. Mistril, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like. To be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable. To be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel. And with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistril sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistril, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. Mistril was reborn as Mystra. Upon her return, the weave returned with her. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mystra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go.
Beautiful night, don't you think? Nothing like a brush with destruction to make one appreciate the majesty of the celestial canvas. It's a view I would once have shared with my companion, though definitely unaccompanied by such revelry. She preferred it when we were alone, curled up before a crackling hearth with some ancient, esoteric tome between us. Ink glinting in the firelight.
By a Garon's lost nose! No! Tara is not any cat. She's a Tressum. And given your confusion, I'm guessing you've never met one. They're brilliant creatures. Fine company for any self-respecting wizard.
She'd be most impressed by our efforts saving these tieflings. Proud, even. And I've given her little to be proud of recently. After I was afflicted with my condition, I locked myself in my tower for an entire year. I was inconsolable, wallowing in my self-inflicted tragedy. I'd given up on myself, but Tara never did. It was her encouragement, her research that led me to my treatment. Once we knew that magically infused items were the key, she went out to find them for me. She saved my life. After so long being cared for by someone else, it feels good to have repaid the favor. Not directly to Tara, but to these poor tieflings. I'm sure she would approve. You remind me of her somewhat. There's a steeliness in you, an unwavering tenacity, even in the face of, to be frank, quite dire odds. Wish she were here for me to make a formal introduction. But I would never ask her to undertake such a journey. She's safer at home. Besides, she was always telling me I needed to spread my wings, so to speak. Find mortal friends instead of hanging onto Mistra's coattails. So that's what I'm doing. I hope. Very funny. But as we all know, nymphs are sticklers when it comes to their bathing routines. You, my friend, haven't been near a fresh spring in a 10-day or more. Not that I don't appreciate your musk. Actually, rather like it. Well, this seems as good a time as any for me to stop babbling on. Wait, are you saying... You know what? I think I've clearly had far too much wine. And you've had nowhere near enough. I think this is a conversation best held back on. For now. With my condition as volatile as it is, I fear any undue excitement may tip it over the edge, so to speak. Go. Indulge in the frivolities. They're good for the heart. And mine will be all the lighter to see you enjoying yourself. An audience with Elminster is never less than memorable. I'd have hoped to introduce you to him in less dire circumstances. But those are hard to come by these days. A wizard doesn't reach Elminster's age without enjoying their home comforts. Those who seek danger over cheese
don't tend to live as long. For Mystra to have sent him, the severity of her bidding could not be clearer, or weigh more heavily on me. Time seems so infinite when you're young. A month is an age. A year is a lifetime. It is a strange feeling to realize how little of it one might have left. Of course, we offer the clearest solution to our problem. All I have to do is find the right place and time, close my eyes, and let go. Then the slate will be clean. Wrongs will be righted, the absolute will be gone, and I along with it. Possibly the most spectacular one ever conceived. But essentially, yes, I'm living on borrowed time in more ways than one. Perhaps this is how it must be. That remains ahead of us for now. The heart of the absolute must be discovered before I can stop its beating. Let's save such certainty for the moment such a decision is upon us. You may feel differently once we know what we're truly up against. I've never seen such a concentration of shadow magic. We must forge on, but carefully. It will corrupt any who lack the power to control it. It is the very antithesis of all the Weave stands for. A magic of confusion and corruption, drawn forth only by those desperate or damned enough to accept its degradations. Followers of Mystra, those who call on the true Weave, are expressly forbidden to indulge it. Mystra's domain is the Weave and the magic that courses through it. These shadows were drawn from another source, created by another goddess, Shar. Mystra cannot destroy it even if she wishes to, but she can try to ensure her followers resist its temptations. It's quite thrilling to fight off such grim creatures as this region throws at us, especially being at your side. I once read a book that explained in some detail the effect a brush with danger has on one's desire for other forms of stimulation. Have you ever read anything on that subject? I believe you. You never looked so beautiful as at the end of a stirring battle. Your cheeks flushed, gaze bright, muscles glistening. Perhaps it's just the thrill of our near undead experience talking. But standing at your side through such darkness and disrepair, it only makes me want you more. Unfortunately, this is neither the time nor the place to indulge such feelings, so we must be patient and push all such thoughts aside. For now. Good evening. I'm here on behalf of Gale of Waterdeep. He wishes to extend you an invitation for a private conversation in a more suitable locale. You are speaking to a mere projection of Gale. His appearance, his voice, and a certain measure of his personality, reconstituted in this case to play as emissary and usher. Would you care to join him? What little I could glean from the portion of his mind that is open to me, it is a matter most urgent. Gladly. Simply follow yonder path, and soon you will find him.
I love this time of night. There's an almost reverent silence that accompanies the peak of darkness, when you'd almost believe the dawn will never break. The cradle of eternity. The timelessness of lovers. That most beautiful of fantasies. Indeed. The curse is still present, of course. Just veiled and at arm's length for now. Not a trick I can repeat often, but tonight Tonight is different. This may be my last night alive. I wanted it to be under a canopy of beauty and wonder, and with company to match. I thought this place might bring me peace. I thought it might make the weight of what I must do feel a little lighter. But I'm not so sure. Thank you. But even if we do find another way, perhaps this is the right way. The end fate wishes for me. There is no point in running from the inevitable. Better to meet it on my own terms. One moment with you could sate me for a lifetime and prize the fear from my heart. I'm so very glad you came to share this with me. I know this is all unreal, but I created it for you. You must know that you're very special to me. If things were different, if we were home, I'd have taken time to do things properly, to say it all better. But time is short. I'm in love with you. That's a relief. It would be a shame to spend my final hours making an ass of myself. Not if I have any say in the matter. I want it to be perfect. To bond with you in the way the gods do, intertwining our spirits in visions of the weave. Are you sure? I could do more than woo you. I could wow you. Yes, you are. Trust me, I would know. Let's do it your way, then. So long as it's with you. A small gesture towards your comfort. I wanted to talk to you about our night together. Have you ever walked to the very edge of a great precipice and shuddered at how easy it would be to step into the void? Ever since Elminster told me of Mistra's expectations of me, I felt like I've been walking along such a cliff face. The great drop to nothingness, never out of my sight. But you led me away from the edge. Without your words, your touch, I fear I would have sought purpose and solace in that void. And reminding me what living can feel like. I had been hoping you'd say that. To be an object of pity. I couldn't live with that. I hope the end is much farther away than I had suspected. I hope that night meant as much to you as it did to me. And I hope we all have more time together. Together. Alone. I'll see that there is. Woe betide anyone who tries to stop me. What a question.
No. You're not the first. Though you are the first since my relationship with Mystra came to its ignominious end. When the true danger posed by my condition became apparent, I had no choice but to sequester myself away from civilized society. A reclusive wizard. Who'd have thought? After so long with Mystra, I have to say the pleasures of mortal love are much sweeter than I remember. Though perhaps that's simply because it's with you. Grateful, mostly. For meeting you. For having someone who cares that I'm here, alive, not reduced to a cloud of netherese vapor. Someone apart from my Tressim, that is. I'm many things to many people, but I'm never a man to throw the L word around lightly. I said exactly what I meant. I love you. You should never, never doubt that. Plenty of them, and all complicated. It's not easy to turn away from one you once loved, but now that I see our relationship with all the illumination hindsight has to offer, I mostly feel only regret. I was not the first wizard to fall under her spell, nor will I be the last. I was an amusement to her. Mortal to be trifled with, amused and eventually discarded. I regret the way I hurt her, of course I do. But she would have seen me destroy myself to earn her forgiveness. There's no love lost between us. None at all. You must know. Our relationship is the brightest spot in our otherwise bleak endeavor. To know you love me for the man I am and not the magic I command. None have loved me so purely before. You are everything to me. And yet our relationship is only a nascent fraction of what it will become. You give me hope. And I've not had that in some time. Anything I can do for you, consider it most enthusiastically done. My time is yours. What do you need?
I was supposed to sacrifice myself to stop the Absolute. Yet I don't think I could have gone through with it, in truth. And I'm glad that I didn't, given what has come to light. The Elder Brain. But, more importantly, the crown that it wore. Even without seeing it for myself, I could sense it. Netherese magic. So pure, so complete. I doubted what I was feeling at first. Most Netherese artifacts contain only the faintest amount of their former power. The ghost of an echo of a memory. That crown was different. I can't fathom how such a wonder survived. Surely everything of its ilk was destroyed along with Netheril itself, but no matter. It exists. I must learn more of it. That crown sits on a gargantuan elder brain bent on destroying us and everything we hold dear. Understanding its true nature might unlock the means of our victory. We need to learn more about what we saw. An artifact as powerful as that crown must have been documented somewhere. As luck would have it, we'll soon find ourselves near one of the finest book collections this side of Candlekeep. Sorcerous Sundries. I need to go there and learn all I can. The only kind I have? Their collection of rare tomes is unparalleled. Netherese texts are hardly commonplace, but I'm certain they'll have one or two stashed away. You'll have to forgive my eagerness, but if my suspicions prove to hold water, this could be the answer to all our problems.
Glorious. Your bond is sweeter than nature's dew. I see you, know you, but do you know one another? Gale, the learned wizard, the charming gentleman, the walking apocalypse. Listen, think. If the wizard were given the choice, what food would he be?
Ah, the fruit of scholars. How I long to have a troop of loyal students grace me with apples by the orchardful in exchange for wisdoms imparted. Ah. I'm not opposed to a bowl of something mysterious and rib-sticking, but I certainly don't identify as one. An apt metaphor, though I hope it won't lose me some kisses.
Your bond beats in pleasure. It is an honor to behold. The heart is fraught. So let us turn to the joyous. When is Gale happiest?
Bravo. That is indeed where my mind wanders to when times are hard.
Our touch has been that of sunlight. But now we must ask the deep, the difficult. We often gaze through a veil of roses, but love accepts both the petal and the thorn. Gale, what is his greatest flaw?
I have worse failings, I fear. Far worse. Hearing it said out loud. Yes, I fear it is true. Fate seems determined to make a sacrifice of me. But perhaps fate can yet be defied. A perfect score. Seems you know me better than I know myself.
I press my finger to your bond and find a shield. Impenetrable. It is beautiful.
More excited than I've been in months. I can't tell you how curious I am to learn more about the crown controlling that elder brain. Believe me when I say how important this could be for me, for both of us. Potentially life-saving, so long as we can learn how it could be taken and used. Not to my taste, but I'll take a clown over some hack magician pulling peonies from his breeches. Truly, I might as well go mount the gallows. Oh, you truly are testing the patience of a man who could level a city if he wished, you know?
And that's Fion's pleasure room, Elminster's library. Here, take the key.
Elminster's library? People will get their thrills in the strangest of places.
We want both of you, silly. At the same time.
This is all a bit much for me. Back home in Waterdeep, I prefer to have Tara leave the room before I undress. You're adorable, even when you're teasing me. But I must decline. I appreciate that. But I can't help how I feel. I'd rather tangle with a dragon than get tangled in all those limbs.
A shame. But either one of us will be ready for you, if you wish to have us.
I might enjoy watching you, tangled up with the drow. As long as I was 5 paces back.
Charming.
There must be a sprinkling shower of gold first. Coin.
It's all part of the experience. The room is bathed in total darkness, so there is nothing to distract from your ecstasy.
The lady, Nim, moves your hand to where the clasps of her blouse lie. As soon as you begin, you hear a zap of magic over from where Gale last was. With a scamper, he's gone from the room. And in his place is...
Hello. I'm here on behalf of Gale of Waterdeep to participate in this evening's activities. He would like me to assure you all that I am anatomically accurate.
Oh, an illusory wizard.
Fear not. There are still many things we can do with you.
I am involved. I'm taking notes, making observations. I'll enjoy myself well enough from back here. You go on and do the rutting, or what have you.
As you enjoy yourself with the drow, the image of Gale tuts disapprovingly. But the orb in his naked chest glows with telltale excitement.
The bustle here takes some getting used to. Crackling fire and a tresson for company is usually more my speed. Still, we must flow with the current we find ourselves in, however tumultuous it may be. If you've need of me, I'm glad to help. Tara! That can't be you, can it? My, is that a ring? For us? Ugh, you shouldn't have. Enjoy yourself now, Tara. Looks like you've got yourself set up quite nicely here. She isn't my Tresim. She's my friend. And from the looks of things, it appears she's eating pigeons. Oh, right. Did you hear that, Tara? Stop it. Oh, she's agreed. Just about. It is! It's Tara! What's she doing all the way out here?
Mr. Dekarios, heavens! Fancy seeing you here.
Tara! That can't be you, can it?
I suppose you won't be terribly shocked to find your old friend Tara amongst the pigeons. They've always been a personal favourite.
My, is that a ring? For us? Ugh, you shouldn't have. Enjoy yourself now, Tara. Looks like you've got yourself set up quite nicely here. She isn't my Tresim. She's my friend. And from the looks of things, it appears she's eating pigeons. Oh, right. Did you hear that, Tara? Stop it.
Well, these must be Mr. Dekarios. Forgive me for feasting on their bodies and bones so very voraciously.
Oh, she's agreed. Just about. Tara remains as willful as ever. I'm glad you finally made her acquaintance. Given the length of my time away, I feared she might have given up on me. Oh, I should have known better. She'd never do such a thing. I wouldn't have her any other way. I'd actually been thinking about introducing the two of you anyway. Over a sumptuous home-cooked meal, if that sounds at all to your taste. My tower in Waterdeep boasts an excellent kitchen and a wine cellar to rival Ondar's self. Not to mention a larder stocked with my homemade Hundor sauce. A Waterdavian delicacy, spiced to leave exactly the right amount of heat lingering on the tongue, and served with that most sharp-toothed of Aquarian residents, the quipper fish. I make it to my mother's recipe. Packs quite a wallop, as does she. More than you could possibly believe. Now that we've got something to look forward to, I think it's time we went and saved the world. Don't you? Anything you ask, I'll answer as honestly as I can. I'm an open book, requiring only your gentle hands to turn my pages. That's it. That's what I need. The Annals of Karsus. The preamble to a civilization's downfall, committed to parchment by the very hand that wrought its destruction. If the crown atop the Elder Brain was truly forged by Karsus himself, this book will confirm it. All we have to do is turn the page. That
devil Raphael was telling the truth. There's no doubt. The crown of Karsus is what's controlling the Elder Brain. And this is no mere journal. It contains Karsus's original plans for the crown's construction. His designs for godhood. Not exactly. It was what he did with it that sealed his fate, and, for a time, that of magic itself. The crown was merely the means. The book states that the crown and netherstones were originally one construct, seemingly sundered at the moment of Karsus's downfall. If we can collect the crown's setting and the 3 netherstones, and with the correct invocation of certain spells and gestures detailed in these notes, I think I could reforge it. To every end you can imagine, and 1,000 more beyond. Just think of it. The power of the gods in mortal hands at last would be free of doctrine and dogma, confined only by the limits of our imaginations. We must discuss this further, but quietly, privately. Find me later, and I will show you something truly divine. I will show you what a crown like this could mean for both of us. Please, don't be too hasty about this. It would be a pity to reach that conclusion without a true understanding of what this could mean for us. Don't worry. Your patience will be amply rewarded.
I serve no god, but that which stares back at me in the mirror. The night song will be put to a grand purpose, equalizing man and god. Whoever helps me attain that which I seek will be greatly rewarded. Of course not. But perhaps, after enough lifetimes, I might make a start of it.
He would seek the power of gods for the pettiest of reasons. His own gratification. At least I seek them for the better of all.
What's that? I didn't quite catch the words, but the insolent tone was clear enough.
Pitying, not insolent. You chase one power without knowing an even greater one lies within my reach. The crown of Karsus. Once we acquire it, your ambitions will be dwarfed. I'll be able to stand against Mystra and wrest her powers from her for the betterment of all.
The crown of Karsus? Nonsense. Even if it still existed, you couldn't possibly handle its power.
Perhaps you could not. But Netheril's power is in my blood. And Mystra? I know her in ways that most mortals can only dream of.
Ah. So it is you. Mystra's discarded lapdog. And now you think your bark is cause to make me tremble?
There is no need for me to bark. My actions will speak for themselves. In time.
Then go. Act. I'll open a fine vintage in your name, once word of your failure reaches me. We shall see, won't we?
If that charlatan lorroakan thinks he can best Dame Aelin, he's even more clueless than I believed.
We should inform her of his delusions. No doubt she'll have great fun in dispelling them.
There she stands, just as Elminster promised. Mystra, goddess of the weave, mother of all magic.
The old man wasn't lying. She's opened the summoning channel. Can't you feel it?
Gale's right. The very air around the statue crackles with magic. It sets your teeth on edge.
A stream of pure, undiluted weave. I only have to reach out, and it will carry me to Mystra, wherever she may be.
An audience with your goddess can go wrong. I should know. But do whatever you feel is best, Gale.
Time was, I'd have given my right arm for a chance to speak with Mystra again. The left one, too. Maybe a knee.
And you disobeyed my instruction. Why?
Because you had no right to ask that of me. You cast me out. Remember?
You were my lover, my chosen. Yet still you know so little of me. The past cannot be undone with self-pity, nor can a future be forged. Only with the truth will you see the way ahead. The fragment of magic you tried to return to me was not of my creation. It was the Karsite weave. It is a corrupted, half-born magic, wrought in the brief moment Karsus ascended to godhood. It hungers for power, just as he did, and it can never be sated. You unleashed something that would consume all magic in existence, and yet you thought only of preserving yourself.
So that's what you're scared of. With the crown of Karsus reforged, I could take control of the Karsite weave.
You can no more control the Karsite weave than a weather vane could control a storm. That it entered your body and consumed no more than your powers was a miracle. But we will not be granted another. The only reason the orb sleeps is because I have allowed it to feed on the true weave. A temporary measure, but one that will not be enough to save us. With each day that passes, the Elder Brain threatens to become a new kind of god. Its worshippers, a scourge of soulless illithids. If you will not use the orb to end this abomination, then you must find a way to separate crown and host. When you've done this, you must surrender the crown of Karsus to me.
A great ask indeed. You've given me much to think on, as you always did.
So be it. Follow the needle of your own wisdom. We shall see how truly it leads you.
Back on mortal soil once more. I can't believe I saw her. After all this time.
And what you felt was but the slightest drop, drawn from the rushing torrent that is the weave. I confess, without my former prowess, even I struggled to stand her presence. The effects on the mortal body of such unfettered magical exposure cannot be overestimated. She held back in order to protect us, to make sure I heard her. The Karsite weave, within me this whole time. I knew the orb was no ordinary ball of magic before it to be Karsus's malignant creation. Gods! How did I not see that? But I should have known. What right had I to go about declaring myself an archmage when I was as foolish as a common apprentice in setting such an entity loose? At least now I'm armed with the truth. And Mistra's expectations. Sounds like the door to redemption is open at last. All I have to do is walk through it, carrying the crown of Karsus. Perhaps I see few other options open to me. If I ever want to reclaim those parts of myself the orb snatched away. If I ever want to be me again. Thank you. There aren't many I'd trust to stand beside me on such a journey. Fewer still who would do so because they believed I deserved such a chance. If I can promise you one thing in return for your faith in me, it's this. I will use everything in my power to ensure we defeat this evil. I will not let you down. Now, I believe we've a date with an Elder Brain to get to. Shall we? Strangely, no. Once, a mere glimpse of her face would have been enough to turn my insides over. But not this time. In her likeness, I used to read 1,000 stories. She was beauty, wisdom, elegance, power. She contained universes.
But now, it's hard to see any redeeming qualities in a lover who condemned you to death. I'd much rather gaze into your eyes than hers. Yours are capable of tenderness and feeling. No god could ever compare. I regret many things in my life. Choosing to be here, intact and unexploded, is not one of them. For now, to have a few more days in your company, no. I wouldn't change a thing. I've often asked myself the same question, but never really found a satisfactory answer. You clearly see something in me that I can't. The wisdom and intelligence required to overcome almost insurmountable odds, perhaps? Or the stupidity required to attempt it. I take it as a compliment either way. You don't get to be 13 centuries old without becoming a sound judge of character. And cheese, apparently.
I can only imagine what I could do were I to adopt the biology of a mind flayer.
You've not taken this power for yourself. So I can only wonder, why offer it to me?
You've a moment for me? I was hoping to speak to you. I confess, my thoughts have been somewhat scattered since my audience with Mystra. The Karsite weave could offer more than just power. It could bestow divinity. If I only trust myself to wield it. I know this may not be the course you would choose for me, but before you protest, you should at least know what it is you would be advising against. Please, close your eyes a moment. Astra navigamus. Few mortals ever glimpse what you're about to see. But don't be alarmed. I'm here with you. Now, open your eyes. The outer planes. This is where gods dwell. They observe us from afar, where they make playthings of us. They will keep all of this from us. The power, the possibilities. They only want us to serve them, to pray to them, and ultimately to die for them. But what if we didn't need them? What if we wielded their power instead and helped ourselves in all the ways they refuse to? I could make that happen. I could make this illusion a reality, with you by my side. No, not like that. I don't want to join them, I want to better them. A god's powers paired with a mortal conscience, a mortal heart. The tadpoles, the orb, these threats to our existence, the gods could aid us if they wished, but instead they cower behind Io. So let us act ourselves. With the power of the crown, any foe would be rendered impotent, any obstacle would be dwarfed by our might. I used to believe Mistra's forgiveness was worth dying for. But I was wrong. You showed me just how much I have to live for. With you, I forget, my goddess. I love you. Tell me you feel the same way. Tell me you want what I want. Please. But think what I offer. The vastness of eternity to explore, the weave at our fingertips. You would really prefer me as I am? I hope you're right. I truly do. Godly power, perhaps I can live without, but you? You're everything. You put the stars to shame. Let's sit here another while. I want to drink you in. My love, I hope you enjoyed our voyage through the cosmos. I was hoping you might have a moment to talk about it. I hope you don't think less of me. Great ambition should not come at the expense of what you already hold dear. I see that now. What divine calculus plucked each of us from the ether and thrust us together. I don't deserve you, truly. But I will do my utmost to earn the right. At a loss, really. People have always commented on my confidence, sometimes my overconfidence. And in one particularly cutthroat assessment at university, my abject and incorrigible self-delusion. To put my faith in someone else and trust that we will find a better way together. It's a rather new experience for me. One I'm enjoying for the most part. But a new one, nonetheless. Are you all right? If you need me, just say the word. Yes, my love? I had hoped my eyes were deceiving me. But no. You were with her, weren't you?
Why, Gale. Is that a hint of jealousy I detect? I think I'll nip out for a bit. Let you two lovebirds chirp. Who would I be to meddle in personal affairs?
I thought we shared something special. I truly did. Clearly, I'm nothing but a smitten fool. I'm smarter than that, and so are you. It's part of what drew me to you. Well, so long as you were able to indulge yourself, I suppose nothing and nobody else matters. Ugh. I'm smarter than that. It's part of what drew me to you. Some mistakes can't be resolved with an apology. Some mistakes you have to carry with you forever. No, of course she didn't. Why would I want anyone but you? I've misjudged the situation. I gave my heart over to you too freely, and now it has been wounded. A mistake I shall not repeat. As you say, perhaps others could turn the other cheek, but I'm not that sort. It's for the best, to spare further heartache. If only your mind had been so set last night. But alas, that bell cannot be unrung. Diminish my feelings if you wish, but do not expect me to take this lying down. That's more your style from what I can tell. My trust in you is broken. You still have me as an ally. But anything beyond that was just a fleeting dream. One from which I have now awoken. At a loss, really. People have always commented on my confidence, sometimes my overconfidence. And in one particularly cutthroat assessment at university, my abject and incorrigible self-delusion. To put my faith in someone else and trust that we will find a better way together. It's a rather new experience for me. One I'm enjoying for the most part. But a new one, nonetheless. Strolling these streets together would have been quite magical in other circumstances. This is all a tad apocalyptic for my liking. I'm cautiously optimistic. Though, with the time left to us and the amount still to be done, it's best we don't take anything for granted. Who knows what shape these final moments of ours might assume? Not I. Not Mystra. Not even you. But whatever my fate might be, I'll be glad to greet it in such fine company.
Thought occurs to you as you gaze at the monstrosity above. Gale's orb remains an option, one that could put an end to the absolute once and for all.
You're plotting something, aren't you? Come on then, out with it. I'd rather know before we take on that cerebral monstrosity.
As viable a plan as any while staring into the maw of perdition.
Shall we?
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city. Smouldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Chiontha. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. The power of Karsus would be in my hands. But what then? What would I do with it once I have it? A wise suggestion. I felt a hubris once before and landed myself with this orb. I think I'd rather not make the same mistake again. If this adventure has taught me anything, it's that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. You, for example. You're always wiser than me when it mattered most. Besides, grown quite fond of this merry band of ours, but I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mystra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts.
I'm not sure about, drink in hand, but I think we've all earned some reckless abandon.
It's curious. After all the wonders and monstrosities we've witnessed, waking beside you seems more unreal than any of it. I've forgotten what it felt like to greet a sunrise without fear of it being my last. It's strange. But somehow I woke up this morning and realized the orb feels different. No clamor, no desperation, no hunger. I hesitate to say it, but I think it's satisfied. I'll need to keep a careful study of it, make sure it's not suddenly destabilized by proximity to a rogue pair of neathery sandals or what have you. But I think it's dormant. That's one worry I can leave behind me at least. Not the matter, but there is a matter I wanted to speak to you about. I've decided to drop this whole gale of Waterdeep business. It's a bit pompous, don't you think? You're now in the company of plain old Gale de Carius, a most brilliant wizard of intentionally limited renown. At your service. Now, I believe this is the moment where I should get to my point, so to speak. I love you. More than I've ever loved anyone, mortal or immortal. And you've proven your love for me in more ways than even the greatest mathematicians would dare to count. That being said, I wondered if you might consider accompanying me back to Waterdeep as a new member of the Dacarius clan. I suppose I am. Tara would be delighted, not to mention my mother. But I'd be just as happy without such ceremony. So long as we're together. You will? Oh, thank goodness for that. We'll need to make the arrangements, of course. The Dacarius clan is scattered far and wide, and you'll have invites of your own to send out, I'm sure. But that's all to come.
The day is young, and there are thousands more days ahead of us.
You and Gale have made a home for yourselves in Waterdeep. Sometimes it isn't clear what he loves more, his research or you. But when he looks into your eyes or up at the stars while he sits by your side, you know the answer. One such night, your reveries are interrupted by an embarrassed apprentice delivering an urgent message written in a frail hand. An invitation to a gathering of former allies, those who stood with you against the Netherbrain 6 months ago. Gale the adventurer has quickly become Gale the academic, but he's all too happy to leave his tower for this meeting.
You're quite certain I look acceptable? I can't remember when I last wore something other than my teaching robes. Feels a little odd to find myself in something so unsinged. That's a relief. I wasn't sure if I'd made too much of an effort, or perhaps not enough. I won't keep you to myself for too long, but while I have you, I want to say thank you for encouraging me to attend this evening. Teaching at Blackstaff Academy has proven such an unexpected pleasure. Sometimes I find it hard to tear myself away. Just one of the myriad unexpected ways life has delighted me in recent months. Even my own city feels new to me, now that I share it with you. I'm just glad you're happy there. When we met, our lives were rather different, and being here this evening, well, reminds me how much has changed. When Mystra quelled the orb at last, she did more than rid me of its threat. She created room for hope, where once I only felt despair. Standing here, now, I no longer see the people we were. Frightened, desperate, alone. We changed. We survived. And we did it together. I've missed them. I've missed this. No. I prefer the warmth of my library's hearth these days. But the feeling of adventure, I confess, that I long for. I have been dabbling with the idea of capturing our adventures with humble ink and parchment. If tales enough to fill a few good volumes. And when the truth runs out, who knows? My quill might take us on further adventures yet. Now, much as I could spend an eternity in your company, we see plenty of each other already. Tempting as it is to keep you all to myself, would be terrible company if we didn't mingle for at least part of the evening. Enjoy yourself, my love. I'll be right here if you need me. Or else somewhere near the buffet. Oh, my knees are aching terribly.
Learned much under these very skies.
Must mean rain.
Such pleasure to...
Oh, hello, darling. I wasn't sure you'd make it. Are you? Withers and I have a regular correspondence. He's joined me and Mrs. Dekarios for a luncheon on more than one occasion. Of course, we'd love to see yourself and Gale more often, but you keep him so very busy, and we hate to impose. I know that, but I intensely dislike sharing. Yes, I am. And you're a dear for putting up with this cranky old Tressim. I may show my claws now and then, but I hope I never scratch you too deeply. Gale, on the other hand, the way he leaves his potions in absolute disarray. I know for certain he wasn't raised in a barn, but you'd never know it. We must begin our campaign to set him on the straight and narrow when we return home. Now, enjoy your party. You've quite earned it, if the balladeers are to be believed.
I can't believe this is real. Never thought we'd gather like this again. It's quite... yes, it's really quite lovely. I love you. Now go on, before I change my mind.